Hey everyone, Chef Geoff here. Welcome to my kitchen. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the old subscribe button. If you like what you're seeing, give me a big thumbs up. So today's recipe will be posted on chefgeoff.ca. So okay, if you want to think like a chef, you know, sometimes guys, you gotta pay tribute to your roots and where you come from. So my mother's family comes from this little tiny town in Sicily called Roccamuto, and I've had Italian cuisine fed to me as a child all my life. And there are just some times when you gotta pay tribute to those roots. So with that in mind, we're gonna make a really classic Pesto Rosso, which translates in Italian to just red pesto. And the key component, that's the star, is sun-dried tomatoes. So instinctively, when you make a pesto, you really think that the easiest application for it will be a pasta. And you're right, but if you stick around a little bit longer in the video today, I'll show you a couple of different applications. My oven is ready, which is great. I'll show you a few extra applications for this pesto that are outside of the kind of the pasta realm. So let's get started. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways that you can buy your sun-dried tomatoes. Sometimes they're packed in oil. These ones are dry packed. Because of that, we're going to kind of rehydrate them and make them a little more malleable to work with in our food processor. So I've got some hot water here. It's at about 175 degrees. And I've also got some fresh rosemary here somewhere. There we go. It smells lovely. Some fresh rosemary, and that's going to help. We're going to pour this water over, and we're going to give it about 10 minutes or so. And we're going to let those flavors come together. And you just need enough water for everything to be submerged. And you're going to really start bringing out the natural oils of the rosemary. And we're also going to use some of this liquid to blend our pesto when these are nicely hydrated and ready to go. All right, guys, let's make some Pesto Rosso. So traditionally, everyone's used to making Pesto Genovese, which is, you know, and there's certain components you always need to have. So there's always going to be basil. There's always going to be some kind of nut, traditionally pine nuts. You're gonna have cheese and olive oil. So we're gonna have some of these components in our sun-dried tomato pesto, but again, our sun-dried tomatoes, they're really the star in this here. So we're 10 minutes into the future. We've rehydrated our sun-dried tomatoes. I've picked the rosemary, and I gotta tell you, it smells amazing. Once you get the heat on that rosemary, the whole house just starts smelling rosemary. It's beautiful. All right, so really easy application we got here. Everything is basically gonna go in this food processor. So I've got some fresh basil that I picked from the garden, and I'm just rough chopping it and putting it in the. Oh, that was loud. And putting it in the in our food processor. And I should have said before, I had 2 cups of dry sun-dried tomatoes, just for everybody's notice. I've also roasted off about 2 tablespoons of walnuts, that's what they're called. And I've added just a touch of salt when they were done. It takes about 3-4 minutes in the oven. And we're gonna add those in. You gotta have basil in a pesto, guys. So I got 2 tablespoons of crushed garlic. I was gonna say basil or garlic. Anyway, that's all right. I've got a cup of Parmesan cheese and about 1.5 cups of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to start with just a single cup and see if we need any more. And I had a little bit of sun-dried tomato paste left over from my queso fresco 3 ways video. So I'm just going to add just a touch of this in, just because I got it hanging around. And this is just a teaspoon right here. And this is totally optional, but I do like to have just a touch of heat. And I'm literally putting in a sprinkle of chili flakes. We're gonna add some salt to start, and then we'll season it at the end. So just a sprinkle I'm starting off with here, and then we're gonna crack in some pepper. And I've also, as I said before, I've added just a little bit of the steeping liquid. I'm just gonna add just a little bit more, and this is gonna have that kind of herbaceous finish from that steeped rosemary. All right, so let's get this thing on. We're gonna blend it. It can take about 30 seconds or so. Okay, so whenever you're blending something, a lot of times things get stuck along the edges. So I'm about 30 seconds in, I'm just gonna kind of make sure nothing is getting stuck along the edges and everything's getting incorporated really well. And we're just gonna get back to blending here. I forgot that we need a little bit of acid in this, guys, so I'm literally going to add just a touch of red wine vinegar. We're looking at, that's about 1 tablespoon. Blend that up, then we're going to taste it, see how we're looking here. Okay. And you get a really lovely texture out of this now. So you're going to get, let's just see how we taste here. Really tangy, really, you got a lot of that olive oil coming out. The fresh cheese is really coming in. You get that really herbaceous finish at the end. Okay guys, so we have our sun-dried tomato pesto ready to go. It's totally delicious and it's a really versatile, paste, condiment, whatever you like to call it. And as I was saying before, everybody, you instinctively think you want to use it in a pasta, but I'm going to show you a different application here. And what we're going to do is we're going to roast off some cauliflower. And I have this gigantic head of cauliflower, and it's been stressing me out in my fridge. It's dominated the amount of space in my fridge. So I'm really, really excited to roast some of this stuff off and eat it, and to show you guys how versatile our Pesto Rosso really is. So we're just going to cut this guy right in half here, and there's ways to cut these without making a giant mess of your cutting board. So you just want to cut from the inside, and you cut the core out, and you're still going to make a little bit of a mess, but if you're going to cut all the way through it, you would just ruin all those florets. So again, I'll show you just really quickly. So you're just cutting from the root from the center, and you're going to get these nice little florets. Remove the core, and just cut from the inside. You don't want to, this way you're not going to disturb the the beautiful floret of the cauliflower. Okay, this giant head, I only cut half of it, and it produced a ridiculous amount of cauliflower florets. So all we're gonna do here is throw some in this bowl, throw it all in the bowl, there we go. And it's about 3 tablespoons of our sun-dried tomato pesto. And we're just gonna add just a little bit of olive oil to get it working. There we are. We're gonna sprinkle some more of that cheese, because cheese is just a wonderful thing. Maybe a little bit more, what do you think? Okay, we're gonna crack in some pepper, and we're gonna season it with salt. Just a touch there. And we're just gonna mix this stuff up. So I've got my oven set at 425, and I've got an olive oil greased pan here. And if you've got parchment, you can use that as well, but the olive oil, with that olive oil on the pan, we're gonna theoretically get a nice little caramelization onto the flesh of our, don't be messy, onto the flesh of our cauliflower. So we got it all mixed up, we got our pan, we're just gonna throw this in the oven for about 25 minutes. We'll see you shortly. Okay, application number 2. While we have our cauliflower roasting in the oven, we're just gonna make a really simple canape, and what we're gonna do is I've got some fresh bread from our bakery next door. We're just gonna cut this into some just nice slices. And it's so fresh that I'm kind of mangling it a little bit, but that's okay. One more. And we're really gonna let the sun-dried tomato pesto be the star of the show here. So all we're gonna do is you just spread it onto your bread. And we got a little prosciutto. And I got some fresh basil picked from the garden. And that's all you need. You're really gonna let that pesto be the star of the show here. Just a little bit, I'll try it with the prosciutto on the bottom here and see if that looks any nicer. Oh, there we go, that looks good. There we are. And just a little bit of fresh basil. And Italian food is really all about letting the quality of your ingredients sing. So we got a really nice bread, we've got a really, really nice Pesto Rosso, and just some fresh basil, and that is just beautiful Italian food. Okay, so we're 25 minutes into the future here. Our sun-dried tomato roasted cauliflower is out of the oven. I've got a little sea salt here, and I'm just gonna kind of crack it all over. And the really neat thing when you roast this cauliflower, it can get, you get a nice little crunch and a bit of texture out of it. So I'm just gonna take a little piece and see if it's okay. That is delicious. So I really hope you've enjoyed learning different ways to use our sun-dried tomato pesto. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit here on the plate. And this roasted cauliflower would make just an awesome side dish to go with, whether that's fish or some steak or some poultry. A really, really versatile side dish, or just lovely to just munch on your own. So okay guys, I've got some Cave Springs Rosé 2018 in my hand here. We've got some canapes made with our Pesto Rosso. I can't say that properly right now at all, but that's okay. We've got our roasted cauliflower, little prosciutto. I got some vino. So from my kitchen to yours, friends, bon appetit.